Hook'em horns, it is a big day, and sadly, the week that half the league's on bye, the other half is injured. So we're going to have to go through and we are going to have to update our rankings for you. Obviously, we'll dive into all the last-minute injury news that we have. I'll be live streaming on Sunday morning. I'll be live streaming super late Saturday night, so hopefully you can come by, and hopefully I can try to give you more updates then as well. But good news is CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, neither are listed on the injury report for Monday, so they should be pretty damn safe plays. Going through and looking at where we have Lamb in our rankings this week, we have him at wide receiver 9. It is a phenomenal matchup for Lamb. I'm actually going to be moving him ahead of Cooper Kupp. You have an implied team total over 20 points here for the Dallas Cowboys, which is much higher than usual, but they get to play the Bengals. I'm going over and looking at Jake Ferguson. Obviously, we got to give Ferguson some credit here. I'd rather play him over Conklin, Komet. I think he's right here with like Frymuth, only because the matchup's so strong. But again, it's a garbage offense in general. You have Brandon Cooks good. You have CeeDee Lamb good. So it's not like you can be super excited about Ferguson seeing a ton of targets. Now, looking at Breece Hall, he's dealing with a hyperextension / MCL issue with his left knee. Now, obviously, we've already moved Breece Hall dramatically down in our rankings. Can't start him. He is out this week. We've moved Braylon Allen up to being about a mid RB2 in the ranks this week. The issue with Braylon Allen is this is going to be a very bad offense. So you do have an implied team total of about 20 points against the Dolphins. They are about touchdown dogs here. But I think the main thing we have to look at is the fact that the Jets aren't playing for anything anymore. So with Breece Hall, I think we need to move him down our rest of season ranks. Like realistically, he's missing this week. There's a shot that he misses week. Like the Jets have no reason to go through and risk Breece Hall whatsoever. So if you had Jonathan Taylor and you offered me JT for Breece, I'd probably go ahead. I'd pivot over to Breece in my rest of season ranks. I think Breece is like, honestly, I may rather have, he's right along like Pacheco, Connor, Brian Robinson, Najee. I think he can fall even further, but I would hopefully get some more Breece Hall news before we make that update. And then with Braylon Allen in our rest of season ranks, I would rather have him over guys like Rachaad White, Nick Chubb. But again, I don't want to move Braylon Allen over the guys like Tyrone Tracy, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle just yet, because there is a non-0% chance that Breece is good to go for week 15 based off everything that I've seen. Now, Dallas Goedert placed on the IR is going to miss 4 games. So that was expectation. Let me just double check to make sure that we have already moved Dallas Goedert down dramatically. Yep, Goedert at the very bottom of our tight end rankings rest of season. Let's see where he's at in the rankings for week 14. Yep, at the very bottom. Don't play Dallas Goedert. Really, the only thing that you can look at maybe being slightly more intrigued with is going to be Devonta Smith here. Where Smith we have at wide receiver 24 in the rankings this week. I have him right behind guys like DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Jakobi Meyers, and Calvin Ridley. Should be a very concentrated offense only between those 2 top guys. So Falcons not considering going over to Michael Penix just yet. Ladd McConkey is still listed questionable for week 14. We don't really have any updated news here with Ladd. Looking at where I have him in the rankings this week, I currently have Ladd McConkey at about wide receiver 14. If he is good to go, I'd rather have him over Garrett Wilson. And the issue, of course, is this is going to be the Sunday night game, so you're not going to get the clarity with Ladd right away. I can see if they have an underdog projection out for Ladd McConkey right now. Typically, if a player looks like he's going to be good to go, underdog will have a pick 'em out on Saturday. Obviously, it's not everything. I mean, everybody is just guessing at this point. But if we see Ladd McConkey like higher, lower 70.5 receiving yards, I feel a little more confident in telling people to go through and play him. So here are the picks on underdog as of right now. And I'm actually about to head over to Dallas for a big underdog event. And they have Ladd McConkey, higher, lower, 61.5 receiving yards. In comparison to the guys that we have next to him, Garrett Wilson, they have higher, lower, like 58.5 receiving yards. I think we have Ladd probably in the right range. If Ladd were to miss, obviously you're less excited about Justin Herbert as well. But if you think this is crazy, if you think that Ladd McConkey is easily going to have 61.5 receiving yards this week, you can go find that on Underdog Fantasy. If you use promo code FLOCK, you'll actually get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, at the same time, you'll actually get a free Justin Herbert pick, more than less than half a total yard for the game tomorrow night. Just make sure you use code FLOCK with the link in the description comment section, and you'll get a free team review on flockfantasy.com as well. But let's move this over and look at what we have. Demarcus Robinson, not listed on the injury report. Doesn't really matter at all. Maybe he ends up vulturing a touchdown from either Puka or Kupp, but obviously you're not starting Demarcus Robinson. Kenneth Walker, we don't have official word just yet. Obviously, I'm hoping that Kenneth Walker is good to go. By no means is it a guarantee. Where I have Walker ranked this week is here as high-end RB2. Let me go through and just double check the time on this game. I'm assuming it's going to be a West Coast game, so maybe it is getting kicked off at 4 p.m. Eastern. And if it's a 4 p.m. Eastern game, which, yes, it is, I'm actually going to move Kenneth Walker down just a bit just to play it safe. Like, if I had Najee Harris going at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'd probably just play Najee and play it safe. If I had Aaron Jones also going at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'd probably just play it safe with Aaron Jones. So we'll move Kenneth Walker down just a bit. Again, you have Rico Dowdle with the game later in the week. That is going to be the Monday night contest, so I don't know. It's just very difficult to rank him. If Kenneth Walker does miss, then at that point, Zach Charbonnet is just an absolute must-start running back, right? And then going through and looking at the other notes that we have, Bucky Irving is still listed questionable. I can go through and I can give you the most up-to-date report that we have with Bucky as well. I am operating under the assumption that Bucky Irving is going to be playing here. And if Bucky Irving is good to go, then at that point, I think that this is a player that probably needs to be in your lineup. Let's go through. I think Sal has Bucky in our league. So let's see if Sleeper has anything out on him right now. But yeah, they currently have projections out 14.5 points. Bucky Irving is questionable to play in Sunday's game against the Raiders. Irving was able to return to practice as a limited participant on Friday, and he's going to carry the questionable tag going into the game. Now, the good news is this is a 1 p.m. game, so you don't really have to play the what if he misses, yada, 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 like you would with Kenneth Walker. I'm looking to see if Underdog has any projections out with Bucky Irving. They have Bucky Irving higher, lower, 94.5 total yards. So I don't feel the need to move Bucky down our ranks. We have Bucky Irving currently as the RB9 this week. Obviously, if I can go back in a time machine, I'd move Jacobs up. I thought it was a tough matchup here, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think you have to play Bucky Irving if he is good to go. With Malik Nabers, we don't really have much news. I was really hoping that we were going to have something by the time we had to stream. Obviously, I'll be live tonight and tomorrow, continuing to give updates. I just have to drive to Dallas for the Underdog event quickly, so I wanted to do this live stream a little bit earlier. But if you're looking at the report that you had with Malik Nabers, Nabers didn't practice on Friday and is listed questionable for the Sunday game against the Saints. Nabers' statuses for Week 14 truly looks like it's up in the air due to the hip flexor sustained during Friday's practice. The rookie first rounder's hip issue is unrelated to the groin injuries dealt with for much of the season and limited him on practice Thursday. Final word on Nabers' availability or lack thereof may not arrive until roughly 90 minutes ahead of kickoff. So I think you lower expectations down with Nabers. We talked about Nabers in the video yesterday, you going lower than 70.5 receiving yards on Underdog. He is currently at 69.5 receiving yards there. If he does play, you probably got to get him in. Obviously, it's just an absolute garbage regardless. Looking at where I have him in the rankings this week, I currently am sitting with Malik Nabers at about wide receiver 15. And honestly, maybe we move him behind Jerry because you have no Tillman. So maybe a Nabers is in a worse offense than Judy, is banged up. I could very easily see you wanting to pivot over to Jerry Judy and want to fault you for it. DJ Moore sounds like he is going to be good to go with DJ Moore. He's absolutely crushed over the past 2 weeks. I'm a little bit worried that you may see some regression here in Chicago for the overall passing volume with Caleb Williams. I think that can negatively impact both DJ Moore as well as Keenan Allen. I have DJ Moore ranked wide receiver 20. If you're looking at the time of kickoff here, this will be something to be a little bit concerned with, however, because with DJ Moore, this is a 4 p.m. game. So with it being a 4 p.m. game, honestly, if you had Meyers like good to go at 1 p.m. Eastern, you probably just go ahead and you play Jakobi Meyers instead to play it safe. But it does seem like DJ Moore is tracking towards being good to go. DeAndre Swift, I have Swift with my own team. Like, let me go ahead and show you this. And let me show you the predicament that I am in here. And the issue is this is a 4 p.m. game, right? So I can go ahead, I can pull up my team. I'm currently planning on starting DeAndre Swift. On my team, I also have Roschon Johnson, but Roschon Johnson is already listed out with the concussion. So Roschon wouldn't be the pivot. Instead, the pivot would be Travis Homer, which 0% chance I'm ever doing that. So I would either have to rely on DeAndre Swift or, you know what, here's the other option. we could go through and we could move Swift down to the flex, which we should probably do to just play it safe right this second. And if Swift wouldn't be good to go, then our option on the bench would effectively be Jalen Waddle for that second flex spot. The report that you have with Swift is Chicago Bears running back DeAndre Swift has been ruled questionable to play this weekend against the Niners on Sunday in Week 14. After missing the first 2 practices of the week, Swift practiced in a limited fashion on Friday, at least giving himself a chance to play this weekend. The Bears' backfield could be dangerously thin on Sunday if Swift is out or limited, as Roschon's already been ruled out. If Swift cannot get cleared by Sunday afternoon, Travis Homer would be in line to lead Chicago's backfield in touches. So here's what I'm planning on doing with my own team. If Swift is cleared by the time we have to make the decision to start or bench Jalen Waddle, then I'm going to play DeAndre Swift. Especially if you have no Roschon. I think you probably get a little bit of an expanded role, blah, 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 blah. But if instead you actually don't have DeAndre Swift cleared by tomorrow morning, and instead you're having to guess on if he is going to play or not as a game time decision at 4, what I'm going to do in that instance is I'm just going to play it safe with Jalen Waddle. So, sucks to be me, for sure. It is what it is. It's what we have to deal with. I'm sure y'all are dealing with a lot of the same things. And I'm honestly just feeling grateful that I even have a player like Waddle that I can pivot over to. Well, let's see if we can get the other guys up that we need to be talking about here. George Pickens did pop up last minute on the injury report, and it does seem like Pickens is actually a threat to be missing here. If you're looking at the report on George Pickens, saying George Pickens' hamstring was added to the injury report and is now officially questionable for Week 14 versus the Cleveland Browns. Pickens will need to clear through pregame activities without any setbacks. If the dynamic wideout is unable to suit up, fantasy managers can expect increased snaps for Calvin Austin and Mike Williams. If Pickens doesn't play, there's no way in hell you play anybody here outside of Najee Harris. Now, I would definitely bench Russ as well if you have no George Pickens. In terms of me rearranging my wide receiver rankings, maybe we give a slight edge to Tyreek, but I really don't need to move Pickens down too much because unlike live McConkey, you're going to get that clarity very early. This is going to be that 1 p.m. Eastern game on Sunday. So you should have every little piece of information that you're going to need. And then looking at Jakobi Meyers, this is a spot that you should be good to go with the information you need by kickoff. This is a 1 p.m. Eastern game. The report is Jakobi Meyers listed as questionable for Week 14. Meyers was able to practice on a limited basis to end the week, but will need to clear through pregame activities without any setbacks in order to suit up. Fantasy managers will need to monitor the wideout status during pregame warmups prior to finalizing lineups ahead of the Week 14 matchup against the Bucs. Again, like if I was choosing between Jakobi Meyers, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, like Meyers plays early, so you're going to have the clarity on if he is good to go or not. It's not like the DJ Moore situation where you're going to have to be guessing, well, why, yes, it does look like DJ Moore more likely than not will play. If you rely on him, then all of a sudden if he's out, you're really going to be scrambling for a last-minute late pickup. So if Jakobi Meyers plays, he should be cleared early, and there's not too much distress on that front. And then I think the only other players that people were concerned with, and please let me know in the live chat if you have anybody else that you want us to talk about. Jamar Chase gets in the full practice on Friday. If I had no Jamar Chase on my team, I'd be dust. Avery told me that Chase was going to miss. I almost crapped myself till I looked into it. Looks like Chase should be good to go. He did pop up with a limited practice on Thursday, full practice on Friday, zero concerns whatsoever. Let's see if anybody else has any players that we didn't talk about already. I see some start-sit questions. Obviously, we'll be answering all your questions and stuff in the live stream tonight, in the live stream tomorrow morning, so definitely come out. The last few Sundays, we've actually been able to get to a bunch of the free questions in the chat, not just the questions over on flockfantasy.com. So I really hope I get to see you, later tonight or Sunday morning, or hopefully both, and I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I possibly can then. But I got to drive to Dallas. It should be hopefully not longer than 3.5 hours. Get to hang out with the Underdog crew. Super pumped. Obviously, shout out Underdog. Please, for the love of God, use code FLOCK. get that free Justin Herbert pick if you want to check out any of those pick'ems for tomorrow's games. Underdog is available in damn near every state. Yes, it's in Texas. Yes, it's in California. Yes, it's in Florida. Yes, it's in New York. But really appreciate you. Really hope that I get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow. And if not, I really hope that you can make the fantasy football playoffs and we can hang out in week 15.